She shared her struggles with a stranger, unexpectedly discovering her millionaire boss's heart. It was just another Wednesday evening at the bustling diner, the air filled with sizzling orders and ringing laughter. Sarah, 34, darted between tables, balancing coffee pots and plates of fries, her heart racing like the clattering dishes around her. Overdue bills hovered like dark clouds above her head, reminding her with every passing hour that the weight of mothering 2 kids rested on her shoulders. Yet amid the chaos, her eye caught a beacon of warmth: Jack, the newcomer at the counter. He sipped his coffee slowly and wore a gentle smile that felt like a breath of fresh air. "Hey there. You need a refill?" she managed to ask, her voice a bit breathless as she approached. He looked up, his eyes soft with kindness. "Just enjoying my moment," he replied, a hint of understanding in his voice. Sarah found herself mesmerized for reasons she couldn't quite place. Behind the din of laughter and clanging dishes, she felt an unexpected pull to share her thoughts as the evening wore on. Sarah found herself beside Jack's booth, her coffee-stained apron a visual reminder of her daily grind. She spoke, words tumbling out faster than the clock ticked. "It's a tough world out there. I love my kids more than anything, but sometimes I just wonder if I'm doing enough." His gaze lingered on her, attentive, as she poured her heart out about the American dream slipping through her fingers like sand. With each confession of feeling defeated by economic inequalities, she felt the burden lighten, just a little. Jack listened intently, nodding as she described her dreams of a better life. A future free of financial strain, where her children didn't have to face the same struggles. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. When her words fell silent, the diner felt like a bubble, containing only them amidst the clamor. He smiled softly, and for just a moment, all the chaos of daily life vanished. Their dialogue deepened, unveiling shared dreams, fears, and vulnerabilities. In that diner where people hurried to escape their lives, connections flourished beneath the surface, a spark igniting between 2 unlikely souls. But reality lurked in the shadows. Their world so different, so distant, loomed large like a wall between them. Would their budding connection crumble under the weight of circumstances? Sarah felt alive in ways she hadn't in years, caught in a whirlwind of hope and fear, each heartbeat pounding louder than the last. Just when they took a step closer, moments before they might bridge their worlds, Sarah's phone buzzed, jolting her back to reality. Overdue bills stared up at her like a warning. Her heart sank. She didn't want to break the spell. Jack's eyes held a blend of concern and warmth, yet an unbridgeable chasm suddenly felt all too real. She stepped back, overwhelmed. The connection hung delicately, but doubts started to seep in. Caught in a dilemma between her responsibilities and what could be, Sarah stood frozen, the weight of her life pressing down on her. Could love really flourish amidst such stark disparities? As she lingered outside, the cool night air was thick with unspoken feelings, the flickering streetlights casting long shadows over her heart. Could she reconcile her aspirations with the reality that chained her? Jack's presence remained a silent promise, a haunting question waiting for answers that felt just out of reach. The following day felt heavier than usual. Sarah's shift started earlier, but her mind was still replaying the previous night's exchange with Jack. As she wiped down a table, she couldn't shake off the warmth his smile had ignited. It was ridiculous, really, this attraction fueled by brief conversations amid the noise of plates and chatter in the morning rush. Her colleagues noticed her distraction. Lucy, a wisecracking waitress with a knack for reading people, tapped her on the shoulder. "Hey, you're daydreaming. Is it the coffee or the guy at the counter?" Sarah chuckled nervously, pulling her attention back to the descent of the day. "Just thinking. It's complicated." Lucy leaned closer, her voice dropping almost conspiratorially. "Complicated means interesting, my friend. Spill it." Sarah hesitated. She hadn't even admitted to herself the pull she felt toward Jack. But Lucy's urging stirred something in her, and soon, she was recounting the evening, the vulnerability they shared, the comfort she found in his presence. When she finished, Lucy's eyebrows shot up. Wow. Sounds like you found someone who sees you. Yeah, but Sarah sighed, her heart heavy. I'm just a waitress with bills piling up. Yes, different. Different how? Because he drinks coffee. Lucy shot back, not missing a beat. You're both human, Sarah. Give him a chance. You might be surprised. As the lunch crowd dwindled, Sarah's thoughts lingered on Lucy's words. What if there was more to Jack than she understood? What if he could see past her worn apron and tired eyes to the heart that was truly yearning for connection? Later that evening, as she flipped burgers at the grill, the door creaked. Sarah's pulse quickened when she saw Jack. He was back, and this time he wasn't alone. A couple of friends were laughing beside him, their energy filling the diner like sunshine breaking through clouds. He caught her eye and waved, his trademark smile lighting up his face. Sarah felt her cheeks flush as she worked to keep her composure. Would he come over? She felt the momentum building like a wave, and then just like that he was right there at the counter leaning toward her. Hey Sarah, he said, the glow in his eyes melting away her apprehension. I was just thinking about that conversation we had. You mentioned struggling. Are you okay? I'm surviving, she replied, grateful for his genuine concern. Just the usual stress of bills and being a mom. But it's nothing I can't handle. Surviving isn't living, you know, he said softly. You deserve more than just to get by. The simple truth of his statement wrapped around her like a warm blanket, igniting a flicker of hope within. Sarah glanced around, caught between the hum of the diner and the connection they were forging. And then he leaned in closer, lowering his voice. Maybe if you'd let me I could help. His offer hung in the air, heavy with possibility but also daunting. She opened her mouth to speak, but doubts flooded back, washing over her like cold water. Did he really mean it? Would he still be interested if he knew everything about her, her struggles, her fears? As she caught his gaze, vulnerability intertwined with excitement. Would she take that leap? Could they really bridge their worlds? The noise of the diner faded into the background. Felt like a chance, a flicker of something more. But just before she could answer, her phone buzzed urgently again. This time it was a notification about yet another overdue bill. The moment shattered like glass falling to the floor, and Sarah felt cold fear seep back in. Jack watched her, concern etched on his face. Everything okay? He asked, his voice gentle but firm. She hesitated, fought against the urge to push him away, to hide behind the wall she had built so fiercely. Was she ready to reveal her true self, to share her heart's deepest fears? Could she allow him in? And above all, could she foster this connection when the hurdles called life seemed insurmountable? The silence stretched long between them as the weight of the question hung in the air, waiting for an answer. The ringing of her phone echoed in her ears, pulling her back into reality. Sarah glanced down at the screen, the notification stabbing at her heart like a thorn. Overdue. Again. The numbers blurred as she felt the familiar pang of anxiety tighten her chest. Jack's eyes held hers, searching for an answer, and Sarah could see the concern deepening in their depths. How could she explain? How could she possibly articulate the weight of her burdens without sounding hopeless? Just a bill, she muttered, brushing her hair back, hoping to shake off the gravity of the moment. But Jack wasn't fooled. There was something about the way he tilted his head, listening, truly listening, that made her heart thump wildly in her chest. Bills don't have to define your life, Sarah, he said, his voice a soft anchor among the whirlwind of her thoughts. You've got so much potential. What if I told you I know people who might help? She blinked, momentarily stunned. The warmth of his gaze felt like a spark igniting a buried dream. Help? Why would they do that? Because they want to. They see the good in people like you, he replied. And they believe everyone deserves a chance. The words hung in the air, yet a part of her recoiled. Nothing was ever that simple. But I wouldn't know what to say. I can't just walk into a world I don't belong to, Jack. Jack leaned in closer, lowering his voice again. Everyone has a story, Sarah. Yours matters as much as anyone else's. Let me help you find your voice. Her heart raced. What if he was right? What if she could unveil a version of herself that encompassed dreams beyond survival? Yet the walls she had built were tall, thick, and lined with years of struggles. Would they really come down for a smile and a few genuine words? I have a kid to think about, she whispered, recalling images of her son's sweet, hopeful face. If I stumble, how does that affect him? Jack's features softened. I get that. Every step you take for you is a step for him too. Isn't that worth trying? She swallowed hard, suddenly realizing how deeply she wanted to believe him. Her overwhelming worries were stealing air from her lungs, holding her hostage in this cycle of fear. Just then, a loud crash resonated through the diner, sending plates scattering across the floor. It broke the charged silence. Their eyes darted toward the source of the commotion. A commotion of laughter and shouts erupted from a group of rowdy customers near the back. Looks like the place just got a little livelier, he said, forcing a casual tone as he turned back to her with a reassuring smile. Sarah chuckled despite herself, the moment breaking her malaise. Yeah, typical Friday night. But it's just a distraction, Jack pressed gently, the spark still flickering in his gaze. What I'm trying to say is let us meet outside of here. You may find it will change everything. The sincerity in his voice pressed against her heart, each word a gentle push against the barrier she had carefully erected. What if I'm not ready? She stumbled over the words. Then we'll figure it out together at your pace, he assured her, the steadiness of his presence wrapping around her like a safety net as she stood at that counter. Time suspended between them, Sarah knew she was at a crossroads. She could retreat back to the familiar shadows of her fears, or take a chance into the unknown light glistening just beyond her reach. What do you say? Jack prompted, his gaze unwavering, the energy around them pulsing with promise. Taking a deep breath, Sarah felt heat rise in her chest, battling against the weight of doubt. Could she dare to step out of the shadows and into the light? Then it hit her. The realization that her life was waiting on the other side of fear. But as she opened her mouth to respond, the ringing of her phone cut through the moment again. This time it was a caller, her ex-husband, and she knew instantly that it was something she could not ignore. Sorry, she said, panic flaring back. I have to take this. Jack stepped back, the moment dissipating as she answered. But as she listened to the familiar voice on the line, her heart sank. While she was pulled back into her chaotic reality, Jack's expression remained, an imprint of encouragement on her heart. Maybe you'll call me later? He suggested softly, the hope in his eyes lighting a fire in her own. Yeah, maybe, she managed, even as doubt crept back in. As the conversation went on, her thoughts raced. Could she face whatever awaited beyond her next decision? And could she trust herself enough to reach out to him when the dust settled? Deep breath in, deep breath out. The uncertainty lingered, but corners of her heart began to open just a little. Want to help pave the way to your dreams, Sarah? Jack's question still echoed in her mind even as she focused back on the call. The weight was heavy, but perhaps just maybe hope was glowing faintly beneath the weight of it all. Tomorrow would reveal its own answers. But tonight demanded the courage she wasn't sure she had. And as she finished the call, her heart pulled toward Jack once more. Would she finally give it a chance? The thought lingered, fearful, breathless, alive. Sarah's hands trembled as she ended the call, her pulse racing with an unrelenting mix of anxiety and determination. She could still see Jack waiting for her, his concern etched in every line of his face. It felt like the world had narrowed to just the two of them amidst the chaos of the diner. Is everything okay? He asked, tilting his head with genuine curiosity. Not really, she admitted, feeling an unexpected rush of raw truth spill out of her. But it's typical, you know? Just backup bills and a bunch of nonsense to sort through. The weight of the lies she often told started to slide off her shoulders, even in the face of her reality. Jack's steady gaze didn't waver, and somehow it made her feel safer. What happened with your ex? He probed lightly, not pushing but inviting her to share. There was a moment of silence as Sarah gathered her thoughts, fighting the memories clawing their way to the surface. It was just the same old routine, always asking for money or trying to rearrange custody schedules. I'm just tired of it all. His eyes softened with sympathy, and it fueled a fire inside her. I want to be better than this, she found herself saying, her voice rising as her heart raced. I want to do right by my son, but it feels impossible most days. Jack leaned closer, his presence like an unwavering lighthouse in her storm. It is hard, Sarah. But it's not unbeatable. All those obstacles can feel like mountains, but every step you take is one closer to the peak. Breathless, Sarah let his words wash over her, transforming into a lifeline. She hadn't expected this kind of understanding from a stranger. She didn't know what it was about him, but he made her feel like she had a chance, a small glimmer of light in the dark. What if I took the leap? She whispered, the thought fluttering through her mind. What if I actually went after what I want? There's only one way to find out, Jack replied with a warm smile. Look, I know it's scary. Change always is. But you deserve to explore every possibility. Just then, the restaurant door swung open, a gust of chilly wind rushing in along with a group of patrons, laughing and chatting boisterously. It nearly drowned out their conversation, and for a moment, Sarah felt the familiar push to retreat into herself, clinging to her old way of thinking. But the weight of that old life sat heavier than ever before. She could feel it suffocating her, stealing away her breath. Remember, Sarah. Jack's voice cut through the noise, firm yet gentle. You said you wanted to pave the way to your dreams. This is your moment to decide if you'll start laying those bricks. His words struck a chord deep within. The thought of stepping away from her fears and toward something like happiness was almost intoxicating. What if I mess up? She asked, half joking, half serious, searching the depths of his eyes for any hint of hesitation. Jack chuckled lightly. Then you get back up. That's how we learn. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be willing. I'm not sure I can, Sarah, he interrupted softly. This isn't about perfection. It's about progress. Every phone call you make, every question you ask, every person you connect with, it's all part of your journey. A knot in her throat loosened slightly, and Sarah felt herself pulled toward that glimmer of hope. Okay, she said, a newfound determination powering her words. I'll meet you outside just to talk. No promises. Jack's smile lit up the room, and for the first time in a long while, Sarah felt a crack in the foundation of her fears. That's all I'm asking for. Let us take it one step at a time. As they finished up, reality loomed around her like a heavy fog, but she could feel the potential of pushing through, igniting a spark within her that she thought had gone out long ago. Just meet me tomorrow at the park? He prompted, the gentle warmth still shining in his eyes. Yeah, I'll be there. She left the diner that night with more than just the weight of her struggles. It was the first step toward something incredible, and it felt like the road ahead had opened up, with excitement and possibility. But as Sarah stepped into the cold night air, the lay of her past still lingered heavily behind her. Would she really have the courage to break free and chase her dreams? Or would the echoes of doubt continue to hold her back? With those questions packed tightly in her heart, she made her way home, the promise of tomorrow sparking anticipation and fear in equal measure. The sun rose shyly the next morning, clouds draping the sky in soft grays. Sarah stood in front of the bathroom mirror, running a brush through her hair but hardly registering its reflection. Her heart raced at the thought of meeting Jack. This wasn't just a casual coffee. It felt like stepping onto a tightrope, where one misstep could send her tumbling back into the shadows. The morning was filled with the sounds of her son, Ethan, getting ready for school. His laughter filled the small apartment, a sound so pure that it grounded her, pulling her back from the edge of her uncertainty. She finished getting ready, mustering every ounce of courage she had, telling herself that today might just change everything. Mom, are you coming? Ethan's voice broke through her thoughts and she nodded, forcing a smile onto her face. I'll be right there, buddy, she replied, calling out as she made a mental note of what she wanted to share with Jack. After dropping Ethan off at school, the air outside felt fresh and alive. The sun peeked through the clouds, casting golden rays that warmed her skin. Sarah's heart fluttered with each step she took toward the park. Upon arriving, she spotted Jack sitting on a bench, looking casual yet focused, his gaze fixed on the hustle around him. He looked up when he heard her footsteps, and the smile that stretched across his face made her insides twist in ways she hadn't expected. Hey, you made it, he called, standing up and walking towards her. Yeah, I did. I wasn't sure I would, she admitted, feeling a blush creep onto her cheeks. As they settled on the bench, Jack leaned forward, his eyes sparkling with encouragement. So tell me, what's on your mind? Taking a deep breath, she felt the words bubble up. I realized last night that I've been living in survival mode for so long. I don't want to keep running in circles. I want something more for Ethan, more for me. Jack nodded, his attention unwavering. That's a big realization, Sarah. It's the first step to taking control of your life. Right, she continued tentatively, but the thought of making changes, of failing it terrifies me. What if I try and still mess everything up? Jack's expression softened. But what if you succeed? What if you find something incredible on the other side of that fear? His words wrapped around her like a warm embrace. Sarah felt a flicker of hope ignite, pushing back against the shadows that often clouded her thoughts. I guess, she said slowly, her voice trembling with tentative possibility. I've been so caught up in handling the worries that I haven't even dared to dream about what could be. It's like I've been blinded by everything I have to deal with. Jack smiled gently, eyes locked onto hers. Don't let fear take away what you deserve. You have the strength to chase your dreams, Sarah. You really do. The warmth in his voice sent a shiver down her spine. There was something about Jack, his unwavering belief in her capabilities sparked something she hadn't felt in years. Maybe she could shift her mindset. I want to explore new job opportunities, she confessed, her heart racing. But I'm scared. What if I can't even land an interview? Then we'll practice together, Jack reassured her. I'm serious. I can help you with your resume, interview questions, anything you need. You don't have to do this alone. The thought of leaning on someone, especially someone she barely knew, sent ripples of anxiety through her. But it also lit a fire. Really? You'd help me? Jack grinned. Absolutely. You have so much potential just waiting to be unleashed. Let us tackle this together. For the first time in a long while, Sarah felt like a door had creaked open. The notion of possibility was exciting yet frightening. What if she stepped through that door and it led somewhere wonderful? But fear still rattled in her chest. Could she really take these first few steps? Let us meet up again soon and draft a plan, Jack suggested. I promise you once we get started it'll feel less daunting. She nodded, her heart flaring with hope. Okay. Think ID. Like that. As Jack stood to leave, Sarah felt that fire igniting again. A flame driven by hope. But just as she committed to making changes, she couldn't shake the feeling of her past lurking in the shadows. Would she ever truly be able to move beyond it? And as she walked home, hope tangled with doubt painted her thoughts. Could she actually have the life she craved while wrestling with the remnants of what she wanted to escape? Only time would tell if stepping forward would lead her deeper into the unknown, or toward a new beginning. The days ticked by, and with each sunrise, Sarah felt the weight of her decision pressing into her. She couldn't shake the anticipation, nor could she ignore the anxiety that curled in her stomach like a mischievous cat. Jack had stirred something in her, a blend of excitement and fear that echoed with every heartbeat. Meeting Jack had marked a turning point, but uncertainty still loomed large. What would this next chapter look like? How could she reshape her life? She obsessed over these questions as she juggled the chaos of single parenthood and the monotony of her current job that often felt like a dead end. One afternoon, Sarah took Ethan to the small local library after school. He scampered to the kids section, his little fingers tracing the spines of brightly colored books. She settled into a cozy corner chair, a book resting in her lap, though her mind drifted far beyond the pages. She could see Jack's encouraging smile, hear his words echoing in her mind. You have the strength to chase your dreams. Mom, look. Ethan's exclamation broke her reverie. He was holding up a book about astronauts, his eyes wide with wonder. That's awesome, buddy. Do you want to check it out? Ethan wrinkled his nose, the way he did when he was particularly excited. Yeah. Can we read it tonight? Of course. As they waited in line, Sarah took a moment to glance around the library, full of families and individuals lost in their own journeys. She felt an awakening within her, a flicker of aspiration that hadn't burned in years. Maybe today she could take a small step forward and send an email to Jack. Just a simple message to set up their next meeting. Once they got home, while Ethan settled into his favorite spot on the sofa with his new book, she opened her laptop. The screen flickered to life and she hesitated, fingers hovering over the keyboard. Instead of typing, she found herself staring at the blinking cursor. Doubt washed over her. Why would he want to help her? What if she failed spectacularly? These thoughts snaked into her mind, pulling her down. Just as she was about to close her laptop, she remembered her son's delight over the astronauts and felt a rush of determination spike through her veins. Before she could second-guess herself, she wrote, "Hi Jack, I'd love to meet again soon to discuss working on my resume and exploring new job opportunities. When are you free? looking forward to it. Hitting send felt like tossing a message into the vast ocean, hoping it would find its way back to her with something wonderful attached. The following day, as she prepared dinner, a chime from her phone startled her. A message from Jack lit up the screen. "Hey Sarah. I'd love to. How about Friday afternoon? We can meet at that cafe by the park. Let us make a plan." A smile broke out across her face, stretching from ear to ear. Friday felt like a lifeline, a reason to cling tightly to the hope that swirled around her like heavy mist. Amidst the chaos of dinner and Ethan's animated stories about the astronauts, she held on to that excitement, letting it fill her with warmth. But beneath that warmth, shadows lingered. How could she venture into the unknown when her past kept nudging at her? Thoughts of old mistakes, lost dreams, and what she once believed were failures clung to her. When Friday came, anticipation thrummed through her body like an old melody, bringing her back to the moment she stepped out of that familiar comfort zone to meet Jack for the first time. Her heart rushed as she dressed, choosing a blouse that made her feel strong and capable. As she walked toward the cafe, the breeze kissed her skin, and she took deep breaths, grounding herself in the now. What she didn't expect was to find herself facing someone very familiar at the cafe, her old boss, for whom she had once poured her heart and soul into her work. The encounter sent a jolt of electricity through her. Could this random meeting shake the foundations of everything she was trying to rebuild? With a heart full of courage, she stepped forward, ready to face whatever came next. Sarah's heart raced as she approached her old boss, Claire, who stood at the counter fumbling for her wallet. It felt like a lifetime since she'd last seen her, a time when she had believed she was on the cusp of something great. Now that hope felt buried under layers of self-doubt. She tried to ignore the twinge of regret that tugged at her. "Claire," she called out, her voice barely above the cafe's chatter. Claire turned, her eyes widening with shock. "Sarah. Wow, it's been ages." Claire stepped forward, enveloping Sarah in a warm embrace that felt both comforting and overwhelmingly nostalgic. For a moment the cafe buzzes faded, leaving only their shared past. "Yes, it has," Sarah managed, stepping back and forcing a smile. Claire had always been a mentor, an inspiration. It felt strange to see her outside the confines of work. "I'm so glad to see you," Claire said, her voice a sweet mix of warmth and authority. "How have you been?" As they sat down at a small table tucked away in the corner, Sarah felt the weight of years press down on her. How could she explain her struggles? The truth loomed large, a wall of vulnerability. But deep down, she realized this was a chance to share her journey. "Well, I've been juggling a lot. Ethan keeps me on my toes," she began tentatively. "And I'm trying to figure out my next steps career-wise." Claire leaned in, eyes sparkling with genuine concern. "I always knew you had potential, Sarah. What's holding you back?" The question struck a chord, and Sarah suddenly felt a rush of honesty. "I think it's just fear. Fear of failing again, of stepping outside what's safe." Claire nodded, her expression understanding. "I can relate to that feeling. When I first started my company, I was terrified every single day. But you know what? Taking risks is what leads to growth. Sometimes you have to leap before you're completely ready." Her words resonated with Sarah. Claire had built something incredible from the ground up. "I wish I had your confidence," Sarah admitted, almost in a whisper. "Confidence comes from experience, and even the best have missteps along the way. Learn from them." Claire's intense gaze softened. "You have a son watching you. Think about the example you're setting for him. Show him it's okay to dream." There it was again, the push toward potential. But just as Sarah felt her heart lift, she remembered Jack waiting for her. She steeled herself. "I've recently met someone who's helping me revamp my resume. He's been really encouraging." Claire perked up at the mention of Jack. "Oh, is he in your field?" Sarah hesitated. She glanced outside, the trees in the park swaying slightly in the breeze, and she took a breath. "He's actually more of a mentor. We connect on a different level. I'd love to meet him one day," Claire laughed, but her tone shifted slightly, almost probing. "You deserve someone who believes in you." The compliment felt weighty. Here was Claire, a woman who had risen through the ranks and knew struggles well, rooting for her from the side. As they wrapped up their conversation, Sarah sensed a shift within herself, a spark of determination igniting. Maybe the foundation of her fears could be altered with a little more belief in herself. When Sarah left the cafe, An unexpected sense of purpose surged through her. Her upcoming meeting with Jack felt charged with new energy. She wanted to share much more than just her resume with him. But as she approached the park, a shadow crossed her mind. Had she revealed too much to Claire? And in doing so, had she opened a door that was better left closed? The questions lingered like a whispering wind at her back, pushing her toward something she couldn't quite define. What was next, and how would she navigate this new intertwining of paths? Her phone buzzed again, and as she looked down, a message from Jack appeared. "Can't wait to see you today. I have an idea that could change everything." Her heart raced. What could it be? Sarah felt a rush of anticipation mixed with anxiety as she read Jack's message. The words danced in front of her eyes, momentarily taking her mind away from the noise of the world around her. The park was vibrant, the sun filtering through branches, casting playful shadows on the grass. But her mind buzzed with what lay ahead. What could he mean by an idea that could change everything? She tucked her phone back into her pocket, taking a deep breath in an attempt to quell the excitement brewing inside her. As she approached the small wooden bench where Jack often met her, she replayed the words that Claire had spoken earlier. Show him it's okay to dream. Could she start to dream again? It felt both liberating and frightening at the same time. Jack stood up as she arrived. His warm smile greeted her, and for a fleeting moment, she felt as if all her worries could dissipate in the light of his kindness. "Hey there," he said, his voice bright. "You look like you've been through something amazing." "It's been a day," she replied, deciding honesty felt right today. "I bumped into an old boss and it changed something in me." Jack tilted his head, intrigued. "Tell me about it." "I'm all ears." They settled on the bench, the vibrant sounds of the park enveloping them. As Sarah began to recount her conversation with Claire, she felt herself grow lighter with each word. She spoke of fears, of seeking encouragement, and even the hesitations that had held her back for so long. Jack listened intently, nodding along, his eyes not leaving her face. "You know, what you're feeling is normal. Everyone goes through phases where confidence wanes," he said gently. "But facing that fear is where magic happens. It's where you learn." As she spoke, Sarah's heart filled with gratitude. Jack's belief in her, his unwavering support, ignited something deep within. Yet, a question still lingered. What was this idea he had? "Okay, spill it," she finally said, unable to contain her curiosity any longer. "What's this big idea of yours?" He chuckled, leaning forward slightly, as if sharing a secret only meant for her. "I've been thinking about your resume and the amazing skills you have. What if we create a portfolio that really shows who you are beyond just what's on paper? Something that tells your story?" Her brow furrowed. "A portfolio? Like for job applications?" "Exactly." Jack's enthusiasm was infectious. "But also something you can take into interviews. It'll highlight your strengths, your journey, and what you really want to do. You are so much more than a resume, Sarah." A spark flickered inside her. Could this be the path she had been silently yearning for? A way to express herself, to dream like Claire said? But just as quickly, doubt crept in again. "What if I fail again?" Sarah asked, her voice shaky. Jack's expression softened. "But what if you don't? You have so much to offer. And even if it doesn't work out as planned, you'll still gain experience. I'll be right here cheering you on." His words wrapped around her heart like a warm blanket. She dared to imagine a future where her dreams weren't just fantasies but possible realities. As they discussed ideas further, Sarah marveled at how refreshing this partnership felt. It was as if she was finally stepping out of the shadows of doubt and into the light. But then a familiar anxiety prickled at her. Could she commit to such a leap? What if her past insecurities, her memories of failure, haunted her again? As the afternoon sun began to dip below the trees, casting longer shadows, Sarah caught her breath. This was a critical moment. Would she embrace the possibility presented before her, or retreat back into the safety of her doubts? Jack looked at her, waiting, holding her gaze like a lifeline. Then her phone buzzed once more. Another message, this one from Claire. "I've been thinking about our conversation. Let us chat again soon. I want to help you find your way back." Sarah's heart quickened. The universe seemed to align in a way that felt powerful, challenging her to take a leap. Would she have the courage to rise to the occasion? The uncertainty loomed over her like a cloud, but in that moment, a fierce determination began to burn inside her. What would she choose? As she looked at Jack, hope flickered in her chest, urging her forward. But before she could respond, a sudden thought struck her. Was this what she truly wanted? Or was she just caught up in the excitement of the moment? The path ahead became clearer yet more daunting with every heartbeat. What if she discovered something deeper after stepping into this new territory? As the sun dipped lower, painting the sky in shades of pink and orange, Sarah took a moment to absorb it all. The breeze picked up, shaking the leaves overhead, a sign that change was coming. Yet, within her an internal storm brewed. Jack's proposal sparkled like a new dawn, but fear loomed like dark clouds from her past. Let us focus on the portfolio, Jack urged, breaking through Sarah's thoughts. What do you want it to say about you? For a moment she hesitated, feeling the weight of so many untold stories. I guess I wanted to show my growth. That I wasn't just scared, but I fought through it. I want people to see me as someone who learned to stand up for herself. That's beautiful, Jack said warmly, his eyes lighting up. You need to own those experiences. They contribute to who you are now. Let us brainstorm. What unique projects have you worked on? What are your proudest achievements? As they fleshed out ideas, Sarah could feel the shadows of doubt retreating just a little. Engaging more in the conversation, she excitedly shared stories of past achievements, volunteering roles. Even that time she helped her sister launch a small online boutique. Talking about her journey reminded her of what it felt like to thrive, not merely survive. I never thought of those moments as meaningful. They seemed small at the time, she admitted, scrunching her nose, embarrassed but relieved to let it out. Small? No way. They're the backbone of your story. They illustrate resilience and passion. You're obviously driven and talented. We'll showcase that, Jack encouraged, jotting down notes with fervor. Just then Sarah's phone buzzed again, a wave of anxiety washing over her. Her heart sank at the thought of checking it. What if it was something that brought her down? Yet, she found her curiosity piqued and reached for it. Her heart raced as she looked at the screen. It was a message from her former boss. Sarah, let us catch up sometime. People are talking about how your strengths really shine. I think we should discuss some opportunities. As Sarah read the words, disbelief swirled within her. For a second she almost laughed, thinking it had to be a mistake. But the moment felt energy-charged. Jack noticed her pause, immediately sensing the shift. What's wrong? He asked, concern etched on his face. It's my old boss, she said slowly, trying to grasp the significance. He wants to meet. I mean, really? Now? Jack's excitement surged. This is amazing. Maybe the universe really is waving at you. This could be the chance you've needed. His encouragement felt like a warm embrace, igniting a thrill inside her. There they sat, two friends battling uncertainty in the face of potential. Suddenly, every moment she had spent doubting herself seemed less significant against this new opportunity. But her heart still beat in double time. What if I freeze? What if he doesn't remember me the way I hope? She voiced her worries. Then you just breathe, Jack replied, his voice steady and reassuring. And remember, you have something valuable to offer. You've changed, grown. You're not that same person anymore. That pushed her. Perhaps it was time to stop running away from her past. Instead, she could start viewing it through a new lens. Embrace the woman she was becoming. Taking a deep breath, she turned to Jack. What if I say yes? What if this is everything I've been waiting for but didn't know? Jack smiled knowingly. Then we start working on this portfolio together. And you'll step into that meeting stronger than ever. Amid the laughter of children playing nearby and the chatter of parkgoers fading into the background, Sarah felt as if she was stepping onto the stage of her own life, a stage she hadn't realized she missed. But uncertainty still loomed. What if this was the moment of truth? As they continued to brainstorm ideas, the feeling of potential filled the air, so palpable that Sarah couldn't ignore it. Could she really embrace this new chapter? Or would her past hold her back at the crucial moment? The tension pulsed in her like a heartbeat, urging her forward. There was no turning back now, but the question lingered. What would she find once she took that leap? The day of the meeting arrived, and Sarah felt a whirlwind of emotions. She stood in front of the mirror once again, her heart a wild drum inside her chest. Today would be different. Today she would step into a new world, not just for herself, but for Ethan. She had prepared with Jack's guidance, crafting a portfolio that revealed not just her credentials but her story. Her journey from struggles to dreams, captured the essence of her resilience as she approached the office building where Claire worked. Memories flickered through her mind, the feeling of defeat, the long nights filled with worry, and the wave of hope that arose after her meetings with Jack. Would she transform the ache of her past into a stepping stone for her future? Inside, the atmosphere buzzed with energy. The office was vibrant, filled with people focused on their work. Sarah took a breath, grounding herself before the meeting. She spotted Claire walking toward her, radiating confidence in her sharp business attire, her eyes lighting up with recognition. "Sarah, I'm so glad you came," Claire said, her voice warm. "Thanks for meeting with me," Sarah replied, her nerves simmering just beneath the surface. They settled into a quiet conference room, and Claire gestured for her to start. "I'm eager to hear about your journey since we last met." Sarah felt that familiar tug of doubt but pushed through it. "I've been working on my fears, and I realized I want more than just to survive. I want to make a real impact." With her heart racing, she opened her portfolio and began to share her story, recounting her struggles, her dreams, and everything that led her to this moment. Claire's eyes sparkled with interest as Sarah spoke. "That's incredible, Sarah. Takes courage to be vulnerable like that. I've always believed in you. You have so much to offer." The acknowledgement ignited something within Sarah, a sense of belonging where doubt had once thrived. They discussed the potential roles that could align with her skills, and the passion she displayed transformed the atmosphere. As they spoke, she felt more and more aligned with the person she was becoming, shedding the weight of insecurity. To the end of their conversation, Claire leaned back, a thoughtful expression on her face. "We could use someone with your perspective, someone grounded in reality yet ambitious. How would you feel about coming on board for a part-time position?" The world swirled for a moment as wave after wave of shock washed over Sarah. "Are you serious?" Claire nodded. "I trust that you'll bring something special to the team. Let us find a way to fit this into your life as you balance being a mom." A radiant smile broke across her face, filling her heart with warmth. "I would love that. Thank you." As she walked out of the building, reality set in. This wasn't just an opportunity. It was the beginning of a new chapter. The roots of her past didn't disappear, but they no longer held her back. Instead, they grounded her, shaping her into someone who had fought to rise. Later that afternoon, she met Jack at their usual park bench. The sun hung low in the sky, casting a golden glow over everything. She rushed to him, bursting with excitement. "Jack, you won't believe it. Claire offered me a part-time role." Jack's eyes widened as he beamed with pride. "That's amazing, Sarah. I knew you could do it. You took that step and look at the reward." Tears welled in her eyes as a mixture of relief and joy washed over her. "You believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. Thank you for pushing me." He smiled warmly, the spark in his eyes alive with excitement. "You earned this. You showed up for yourself and Ethan, and that's what matters." The happiness surged through her, filling her heart. She felt unstoppable, ready to face whatever life threw her way. Together they sat on the bench, feeling a shared sense of hope. This journey was just beginning, her portfolio resting beside her, shimmering with possibilities. As laughter from nearby children echoed through the air, Sarah let the warmth bubble inside her, filling every corner of her heart with a new dream. She held the power to shape her path, and it felt as if the universe was smiling down upon her. It was more than just about the job. It was about understanding her worth, chasing her dreams, and embracing those who believed in her. Stepping confidently into this new chapter felt like igniting a fire within a fire she would stoke brighter each day. Even as she strolled hand in hand with Jack, the shadows of her past lingered like distant memories, but they only served to remind her of the strength she'd gained. And she knew in that moment, she would no longer shy away from her dreams. Instead, she would sprint toward them, every step guided by the love for her son and the belief in herself. The vibrant dawn of her new life had just begun, and she felt unstoppable. She was no longer just Sarah the waitress. She was Sarah the dreamer, the fighter, the one rewriting her own story. Now, as you reflect on Sarah's journey today, remember the power we hold in our hands. Your own story is waiting for you to embrace it. So don't wait. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that inspire change. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and support moments of transformation. Comment your reactions and feelings about this. Ending your voice matters. and share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support for stories that uplift and empower. You need to do it.